Hello, everybody. We're 5 minutes before the actual recording starts. I'm sorry if you get all the beeping. That's people entering the room. Fingers crossed this recording works. Well, I have done recording before on Zoom, but usually what happens is it crashes at some point. So we shall see what happens. Hope everybody is well. If you can't join us today, that's understandable. I'm just going to close the blind. I'm a little bit blinded. There we go. That's a bit better. So if you've not been to any of my Zooms before, this is my sewing room. You can see it's a little bit chaotic, and hopefully it's all going to go all right. Don't really have a plan as usual for today. Well, I do have a plan, but I don't have a plan. We're just going to see what's going on. So hopefully we'll get some people here live. I'm hoping that if you're watching this now, it worked. Yeah, lots of funny faces going on. So halfway through the year, absolutely crazy. Cannot believe that we are halfway through, and flag 26. Quite excited. I have all my can't really show it. Oh, I can I? Hold on, let me lift that up. Let's see if it'll do this without breaking everything. So if I flip that around, oh, because it's a little bit bright, I have my flags all in front of my work desk. So I get to, oh, sorry, you're looking at my hand. So I get to see them all the time, which is great, because when you start stitching, it just means that these stuffs, if you get stuck for ideas, you've got something to look at. So hopefully everything's going to go okay. This recording will go a bit pants for a little bit while I'm letting everybody in. Everybody's on mute, so hopefully it's just going to be me that you're going to hear. Poor you, sorry. And we'll get cracking. It's 2 minutes to 10, so I'll start letting everybody in and we'll make a start on this shortly. Oh, we're going to get loads of ping pongs now. Morning, everybody. I've got everybody on mute because I've no idea how many people are coming. As I mentioned in the thing, it is being recorded. I'm not sure which bit gets recorded. I'm assuming it's just me that gets recorded. And we'll just see how many people turn up halfway through the absolutely crazy. So good morning, everybody. Hopefully we'll get quite a few people on. I'm recording it so people can go back and have a look. And also there were quite a few people messaged me because they don't live in the UK or they have a job and they can't actually come and watch the live flag. But thank you for joining me this morning. I'm going to give it a few minutes for people to join in. So you'll be hearing loads of ping pongs and stuff going on. Hope you've got a cup of coffee with you, maybe your breakfast or lunch or whatever. I know a few people did message me saying that they're not actually in the UK and they were going to get up or stay up, which is crackers. So if you are from somewhere else, awesome. I'm going to pop a thing in the chat just to find out where everybody is. Oops. So just pop something in the chat asking where everybody is this morning. So it'd be nice to hear, locate, well, not here, because you can't hear. Everybody's on mute. Just to find out where everybody is this morning, because I always get very excited. Usually there's people that are near me. I'm in Brighouse, West Yorkshire, and then usually there's people all over the place. Oh, West Sussex, nice. Hope the weather's nice for everybody. Here I can't decide whether it's going to be sunny or it's going to rain. Let's see how, oh, Watford. Oh, Fife. Oh, let's go. Oh, we've got the Scottish contingency. Love it. Germany. Oh my goodness me, we've gone international. Love it. Thank you for joining us. We've got people flying in now. I can see everybody's busy typing. Why can I not make that bigger?
You can type.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning. I'm just leaving everybody on mute at the moment.
All right.
Okie dokie. But thank you for joining in as Zane morning.
I don't know how to type.
Just type in where everybody's from at the moment.
Chat.
We've got 28 with us so far this morning, which is lovely. Gone over onto two screens now, so I can't see everybody. The meeting is being recorded for those people. Oh my goodness, I've just looked up. Dawn is in Australia. Oh my goodness me. What time is it over there? It must be the night or something.
6, 7 p.m.
Oh goodness me. Thank you for joining us in Australia. That's flipping awesome.
Oh.
Wow, love it. Woohoo. Right, we'll get started in a bit. See how many others would like to join in. That's amazing. I'm loving that everybody's here. I love it that you've got nothing better to do on a Friday than come and join a Zoom with me. That's just crazy. I've got quite a busy day today. I'm doing this and then I'm off to Scarborough because I'm teaching at the East Yorkshire Embroidery Society's summer school, so I'm quite excited. My car is all packed. Oh, Liz, I'm heading over in your direction, but I'm going to Scarborough. West Midlands, wow. Oh, Chorley, oh, lovely. Oh, I'm loving how everybody's from all over the place. That's amazing. Right, okay. I would imagine people will probably keep joining in, so I'm just going to start prattling on. I'm assuming after watching 25 videos, and if you've done the tags and other things like that, you've heard me prattle on. I do talk a load of rubbish. I know, looking on the screen as well, I do know quite a few people actually in person, and they definitely know that I come from England. So
wobble gob,
thank you, Pat. Love it. I definitely am. Oh my goodness me. I started this video 5 minutes before everybody came on, just so I could do a bit of a welcome to everybody that's joining. Hopefully, I'm hoping this recording does keep recording, because when I've tried to record Zoom before, it's never worked. So there should be, if this works, I'll be able to upload it and you can just go back and watch it again if you want to. So we're halfway. Halfway through the year. It's absolutely crazy. I hope you're really enjoying the flags as much as I am. I'm loving it, even though some of them, I know some of them are a little bit like the tags, some of them might replicate other things we've done. I'm trying to mix it up as much as possible. I've done at the beginning of the video, I've got all my flags are up here in front of me, in front of the window, and I'm actually on the way back. So I flip my flags around and I'm beginning to do the backs on them. So I'm getting really excited about what's coming up, especially as towards the end of July, it's World Embroidery Day. So we have a flag that celebrates that. And then I'm busy planning one for the start of August because we have a Yorkshire Day. So I'm going to be doing something based in Yorkshire.
Ooh, yes.
So everybody will have a little bit of an eye opener as to what's coming up with that. So I'm really loving them. I'm already planning as well the 2023 challenge. I'm getting ahead of the game, so there will be another challenge coming up next year as well for those people that want to carry on with it next year as well. So anyway, I'll keep dropping people in if they arrive. I've got 37 people that have joined us this morning, which is absolutely amazing. I'll get started. I'll just have a quick drink. Okay, right, so I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully things now will not go pear-shaped. Let's see what's going on. Advanced, share screen, there we go. So everybody hopefully can see my desk with all my stuff on it.
Yeah.
Suddenly an absolutely, oh my goodness me, what's going on with that? Oh, we've still got people popping in. There we go. Good morning. Hope everybody's okay. Right, let me sort my screen out. I can still let people in. Right, okay. So I did post at the end of last week's video just a little bit of a collection of bits and pieces that I was gathering together today, and a few people that did notice talked about getting a pin. Obviously with the tags, if you did that, I got everybody to send me a tag halfway through. I'm not going to ask you to send me anything this time. Went a little bit bonkers last time. I just thought it'd be quite nice to do a live Zoom, and just for people that have been doing it, just to do something a little bit different from what we've done each week. So we're going to do a mini hanging this week. So I've got my little kilt pin, and that's what I'm going to hang my little flag from this week. So I just gathered together bits of fabrics and stuff sort of in my favorite colors. I even did my nails this morning, so it matches yellow and blue. We're all sorted. You got to go the whole hog. So I've pulled out little bits and pieces. So given some fabrics that I've pulled out. I've got, this was a lady in America sent me, it's like the remnants of a quilt or something, but it's got the most beautiful fabrics on there, and I keep using little bits and pieces. I think this is one of the things that I've definitely learned over the past couple of years, is to stop saving in a box. Just don't save things in a box. You save them in a box, and at some point somebody's going to bin them because they've no idea what they are. So you do need to use the things that you've got. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I stop putting things in like a precious corner, because the other thing is I put them safe and then I promptly lose them and I can't find them again until I do a clear out. And it is nice because it's like Christmas, because then you get all excited because you've just found something. But anyway, I have a dish that I have on my desk as well that I just have loads of buttons and fastenings and little bits of jewelry and stuff like that. So I've pulled that out as well, and I've got a little scrappet of lace and then just some thread. So I've got a Danish cotton thread and then a hand dyed thread. Can't remember where I got that one from, but anyway, I've just pulled those bits out. So all I've done to start off with is I've actually ended up doing the background for my flag a little bit thinner, because when I put my kilt pin on the actual flag, it was a little bit too wide. You don't have to use a kilt pin. When I was doing, I just sat this morning having a look, and then I noticed that I have some like vintage lace bob, well, it's not a vintage one, but that one, lace bobbins, and I thought, oh, I could have used that. It could be a little bit of driftwood. It doesn't even have to hang off anything. It can just be a bit of a flag, and I didn't want to make this one too complicated. It was just really about just playing around just with some bits of fabric and whatever it is that you've got at home. So what I'm going to do with my background is I am actually going to, when I've done it, I'm going to wrap the top around. So what I've done with my fabric is I have chosen a bit of fabric so that I've actually got the edge of the fabric at the top, so I know that it's not going to fray. If I was going to do frayed fabric, then I'd probably do a little bit like a bias binding over the top, and that's basically where you lay some fabric on. I think I've done this on a few flags before, and you do a little stitch and then you can just wrap that around and then over the top, and then you could have that going through there. So there's loads of different ways that you could finish it off. But basically all I'm going to do is snip up some bits of fabric and just start attaching them to my little hanging. Do always like you have a little bit of like a, oh God, I've just cut into something. What if I've made the wrong cut? It not matter at all. So it's just playing around with the fabrics. I've said for you to choose a colour that you particularly like. It can be anything. It could be dress fabrics. Got to remember that's going over the top, because otherwise I'll get way too excited and then forget that that's what's going to happen. But what you can do is have some little bits of fabric go in there, so then when that wraps over the top, you've actually created quite a nice top to your piece. So let's move that out of the way. That one's going to go there. Little bits of shirting are quite nice to use. I've got a bit obsessed with going to our local charity shops and just buying old shirts. I think one of the things that's lovely about an old shirt is because they've been washed, you can get hold of cotton ones. The fabric on them is just so lovely because it's just really, really soft, and little things like you've got like the buttonholes and stuff. So it's when you put that on, you can end up then possibly popping a little button over the top. so that you've got that to play around with. So it's just playing around just with little scraps. I think this is one of the things that I've really liked about both the tags and the flags, even though I keep saying tags when it should be flags, and I get very confused because they are both the same sounding words. I think the thing that I've loved is the fact that they are little. They are quite little. And I know I've done exactly the same thing this year that I did last year, was that I've done my flags and then I've gone onto Instagram and seen what other people have done, and then wanted to go back and redo mine because I didn't think mine were good enough. And people have actually thought of some better ideas. But well done if that was you. I can't get on and like and comment on everybody's, but I'm always really, really grateful the fact that everybody goes on and comments about each other's. So I've been sharing them on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, if you just use the hashtag the 52 flags handmade, if you search that hashtag and then follow it, all the flags that everybody's been doing will automatically appear in your feed. And on Facebook, I usually just do a post and people have sort of got used to tagging or just adding a photo of their flag on there as well. So I don't know if you're busy stitching along today, or are you just waiting to see what I end up doing and then go off and have a bit of a route. If you get things that go over the edge, don't worry about it. You can either wrap them round or my nose has just started running. I've got really bad hay fever for some reason. I'm gonna start sniffing. Oh, sniffy, sniff, sniff. Right, okay, so once you get to a stage where you're quite happy with some of the bits that you've popped on, don't keep faffing. My favourite word, that I love that word, faffing. Start pinning things down. So start making decisions about things, because the more you faff, the less you'll get done. My friend Jane was all about faffing. I don't even know if she's on today. I haven't seen her pop up yet, I don't think, but she might be on. Okay, so a few little bits. I'm just creating like a little collage background. It's quite tricky doing this live, because usually when I do this and I'm doing it here, I've had a little bit more time to think about it, but I thought I didn't want to think too much today, mainly because my brain's not functioning anymore. We're getting to nearly the summer holidays, and you sort of break up. A lot of the kids this week, they go on an outward bound thing, so there's not been many kids in school this week. So when it's like that, my head breaks up for the summer holidays, and then it gets a shock when there's still 3 weeks to go. But it'll be fine. Right, okie dokie, that's where I'm going to go. I thought I'd got another little kid. There we go. Okay, so, oh, there we go. So just pop it back on. I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet. I don't know if I'll trim them or wrap them, but it's always just a good idea just to keep popping them on your little piece, just having a look. Oh, it's quite cute. I quite like that. I quite actually like the bits that are coming off. They might not even get chopped off. Might go a bit rogue and do something a bit different. Heaven forbid. So I can start stitching these down. So what I'm going to do to start off with is just some tacking stitches, just so that I can start taking the pins out. So tacking stitches are just basically really big running stitches. Normally what you would do with a tacking stitch is, once you've actually decided what you're doing and you've done your other stitching, you would go and remove your tacking stitches. I don't tend to remove them. I quite like them because I always think it adds a little bit more to your piece, and it's all about sort of, I always think stitching is a little bit like telling a story, and this planning phase and little bits like this is part of the story. But I understand, I mean, I know tacking stitches mainly are used for dressmaking, for sort of like holding things together, or possibly if you're quilting, just to get things in place and make sure that they don't move, which is basically what we're using them for. But I don't know, I just like to leave them in. I've got a massive runny nose now. That's ridiculous. I'm going to keep sniffing. So I apologise. I didn't plan. I normally have tissues, but what always happens in here is I have things and my family need things and just come and help themselves. So no doubt one of the kids was going out and needed some tissues. Why you would come in here to get tissues, I have no idea. Okay, so big tacking stitches. So these should be quite quick to do. No, it's not quite quick to do when you're busy watching it. I'm hoping that the recording is still working. It doesn't say it is, but I assume it is. We'll see what happens at the end. If it hasn't recorded, it means that before I go out, I'll have to make another one. Oh, actually, what I could do is I could just take photos of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Okay, okay. Right, so as you start getting them tacked down, so I'll do some that are horizontal and then a couple that are vertical. You can then just start taking your pins out. Even if you've not trapped everything down, everything will just be held in place. Go. So I've done 2 big verticals down there. They don't even have to be the neatest of stitches at all, because a lot of it's probably going to get covered up when you start adding other bits. So with this, like I've always said with all my videos, is this is just like a basic prompt. You can do and add whatever you want to your little hanging. Depends on what you've got at home, what you've got available to you. But try not to go out and buy anything specific unless it's from a charity shop and you're upcycling it. So great places to get buttons and things like that are definitely the charity shops. So if I buy a shirt, I'll chop all the buttons off it if I don't want if I'm just buying it for the fabric, and just keep the buttons. I always have a little bit of a browse as to what's in the jewellery section to see if there's any nice necklaces that you can take to pieces to get beads. So I find that's a great way to get beads. The only disadvantage with that is if you find some beads that you really like, you end up not wanting to use them because you know that once you've used them, you're going to run out because you can't replace them. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but I always think, well, when I've run out, I can go and buy something different and then use something different. And I just think at the moment, there is just way too much stuff is just going into landfill. And I had a chat with the charity shops down in Brickhouse because they get a lot of old tablecloths and things like that. And because they've got stains on them and marks on them, they won't sell them. And they usually just chuck them away. So if you have a quiet word, sometimes they'll save bits for you just to have a look at. But even if I'd go and have a look at them, I think I don't really want that. I always feel a bit guilty that they've saved them for me and I end up buying them anyway. But the money goes to charity, and usually you can use stuff, but I am getting quite a lot of tablecloths and things now. Might have to have a bit of a de-stash maybe and get rid of some. Well, not rid, can't say get rid, can't get rid. Pass on and share with other people. Right, so come back side, and then I will have tacked it all down, and I should then be able to remove the pins, and then we can have a play around with the next layer. Hand stitching is not the easiest thing to do on speed. Obviously not speed, I'm not on drugs or anything like that. I just mean do it quickly. So I don't know if other people are busy stitching along. I loved all the flags that I've seen from last week, just throwing in my curveball of working on paper. Originally, when I started doing all my textile stuff, which is, oh gosh, what, 2022, so it's 11 years ago now, I stitched into paper. That's all I ever stitched into. I didn't really work in fabric because I couldn't get fabric to do what I wanted it to do. Whereas now I love working with fabric. I think it's because I was trying to be perfect all the time, and I've discovered that actually you don't need to be perfect. It's better to be, I always say, being imperfect is perfect. because who's to say what's right and what's not. Okay, right, so we've got there, see if the camera's going to play. There we go, my very unneat tacking stitches. So for anybody that's just joined, all we're doing is we've got a backing piece, we're cutting up little bits of fabric, thinking about using something for our hanging. So this one's going to go around the top of there and it'll be stitched on, and then I'll pop some holes in my cardboard to be able to stick that on the background. So that's basically where I'm up to. So once you've got that bit done, it's then about adding anything else that you want to add. So I'd already found some buttons, and I always think if you're adding things, to do it in odds. Odds always work better than evens. So just thinking about where you could place any little bits of embellishments. Embellishments could be absolutely anything. So I have a little box that I've just covered it up that has all my odds and ends in. So one of my daughters went through a jewellery making phase, so she'd got loads of silver rings. My little box has silver rings in it. I love these little little safety pins. You usually get them in clothes sometimes from shops. They're called light bulb safety pins, but you can get them in different colours. So they're really nice to play around with. Little safety pins, again, you get those in different colours. I even found these ones that are, get off. Oh, right, here's a different one, like super chunky ones. So you can really play around with all sorts of different things that you found. I've got some beads in there, little washers, actual beads and buttons, anything at all, trinkets, whatever. I've got a little bit of, I think that's crochet that I got, a little bit of vintage crochet that I thought was quite cute. I might put in there, so I'll probably add a few little bits. And then I've got a little bit of lace. Lace is lovely. If you've done something and you might have an area that you think, oh, I quite like all my colours, but that colour's really standing out a little bit too much. If you get a little bit of lace and you've got the netting and just lay it over the top, it knocks things back and it actually blends areas together and can give you some really, really nice different sort of colours and textures. I quite like these because they've got like the little flowers on there, and then I really like the edging. So you can add some little bits of lace on there or whatever you've got at home. It's just the idea is you're just going to build up things. So if you're struggling for ideas, have a look back through some of your flags. So you might decide to add some of the stitches that we've used before. So what have we got? We could even add, we've added shells on, we've done satin stitches, bullion knots, French knots, all sorts. I know everybody loved the turkey stitch. Don't think it was very popular after that with some people. Some people really didn't like it. Yeah, but I'm there to try you, make you do different sorts of things. That's quite pretty. Quite like that. Working out sometimes with lace as to which is the right side and which is the wrong side. I think I might put a little bit of lace on. Oh no, that's wrapping round, so move that down a little bit. And then I know I want one of my buttons on my buttonhole. I might have the other two at the other side. Oh, there we go. That's quite cute. So pin your bits in place, any bits that you want to add, shift your buttons off, and then you can start stitching and adding any type of stitch that you want to add. Oh, it's so annoying that my nose is running. Right, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to run to the bathroom and grab a tissue. Be back in 2 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Oh, hold on, somebody's just arrived. Right, let them in. Right, hold on.
Hi, everybody.
Right, I'm back. Oh, I can breathe again. Brilliant. Right, glasses on, can see. Okay, right. So I'm going to go with a contrasting thread now because the tacking stitch one obviously sort of blended in. So then it's just about how you want to start adding the little extra bits, but also doing some stitching. So you could keep it really, really simple and just stick with a straight stitch. I think sometimes a straight stitch can be very underestimated as to how nice it is. And it's just using it, just thinking about using it in different ways. So if you're adding a little piece, rather than doing a running stitch going around the edge, if you sort of treat it a little bit like a patch and just do little straight stitches, just hold that up so you can see. On camera, work. There we go. There we go. So just like little straight stitches, rather than running around the edge, just have them going over the edge. So sort of have them as little independent stitches. Bring this down a little bit. There we go. So just going around everything on your desk. And what this will do when you start doing your stitches over the top, this is why you don't do that many stitches when you're doing your tacking stitch, is this then starts attaching everything else. Anything you haven't actually attached will start attaching. So just working your way around. I do like working with little bits of lace. I just think they're very pretty. And especially seeing as though you can get quite a few bits of lace these days that are just little fragments, little bits that are left over. And just isolating little bits, just getting bits of crochet can be quite nice. So sometimes find, depending on what crochet is being done with, as in the thread, sometimes can be a little bit. I'm really, really hoping that this is recording. It doesn't tell me anywhere that it is. So fingers crossed. So if you've just joined in, welcome to the halfway point. I'm just busy doing my little hanging. So I started off with a backing piece of fabric, and then we've just been working mainly with colours that you really like. I always think, even if I do set your challenges, work to work colours that you don't like, people do tend to go back to colours that they like, and usually subconsciously you'll find that your piece of work matches what you're wearing, because we tend to wear colours that we like. That always fascinates me when I do workshops, just waiting to see whether or not everybody's piece of work actually looks like what they're wearing. And I'd say 75% of the time it definitely does. I know I've gone on workshops before and I've been determined not to do my usual colours, so I end up doing something else, and then I don't like what I've done. So I learned very quickly not to do that. Just do the colours that you particularly like using.
And it does say at the top of our screens it is recording, so you're fine.
It does. Okay, thanks ever so much. Thanks, Ollie. Just doesn't say on mine, so that's good. The last time I tried to record something, it just crashed on me and the whole thing went belly up. So I've never dared try it before, and I don't actually know what records. I'm assuming it's just my screens that record, but you all could be on the recording. I don't know. If you are, sorry. There we go. So I've just gone round all the way around the edge of that little bit, and just by using a contrasting colour, it just starts making things stand out. So when you're looking at bits of lace as well, sort of take inspiration from them. I don't tend to tie off and stop and carry on. This is just a piece of decorative textiles, so we don't have to follow all the rules of embroidery. So here there's like a little wiggly line on my edge, so I can make my little stitches sort of fit inside the little lines. But obviously you could use any stitch that you want to. Maybe try and include your favourites, which obviously for everybody on here it will be a bullion stitch, because you all know my personal mission to make sure that everybody loves a bullion stitch. It's sort of like become my mission in life. I did buy myself, I really like tulip needles, And they must have cottoned on to this thing about bullion knots, because they've always sold milliner needles, which are the ones that are best to do for bullion knots. But you can buy a box of bullion knot needles. So they have cottoned on. So I don't know whether or not that's because I've just been ranting about it and they've thought, ooh, bullion knots seem to be appearing up everywhere. Let's cash in on it. I should contact them and just say, I think I need a cut. Oh, dear. There we go. So I might do little French knots to trap things down. So your little French knot, that's just pointing your needle away, thread away from the hole, wrap your thread around your needle, and then I'm just going to jump over a part of the lace just to add a little knot in the middle there. So like with lace, you don't always have to stitch down every little bit. It's quite nice. French knots are lovely because, especially if you did them, if I was doing these in white and stitching it down, the actual piece of lace would probably disappear into the background because you wouldn't know what was lace and what was your stitch. So that can be quite nice as well. And I've got to stitch down that other edge, but I'll worry about that later on. So I'm just coming down, and then I've got my buttonhole. So I'm going to pop my button in. So I'm going to actually I'm going to tie that off the back. Buttons, you can stitch them in the traditional way, doing straight stitches across or creating a cross stitch, but there's loads of other ways. You don't just have to do the norm when you come to stitch things on. So one of the things that you can do is, I quite like doing this, if you lay your button on and then go from the front and then come out the back, but don't take your thread all the way through. Take your needle off, and then you've got your two ends. Just tie a little knot. Or not. Just tie it 2 or 3 times. And then I'll probably do this a couple of times as well, same thing. So I'm just going to do 3 little knots. So this is on the front of the button, and then when you trim it off, leave some threads. So you end up with little hairy bits coming out the front. So I'd probably do that 2 or 3 times, and then at some point I'll decide how long I want them actually to be. But I quite like that because it sort of starts adding a little bit of texture to the front of your piece. And it's more about adding, oh, I can't thread my needle. Needle to thread, not thread to needle. There we go. I don't know where I saw that, but they did say don't try and put your thread through the needle. Hold the thread and then take your needle to the thread. Sounds like voodoo. Stitching voodoo. Right, grab that one. Tails. I'm going to go across this way. There we go. So, and it sort of just starts adding just a little bit more to your piece. Got some dangly hairies. I need another yellow on there. So, there we go. Right, so I'm going to put my other buttons on. Oh God, I'm getting fastened up in threads here. Lucky you can only see this bit of my desk. The rest of it is like chaos. You just end up chucking everything everywhere. But it's my chaos. Needle to thread. Didn't work. Needle to thread. There we go. I always feel like with stuff like this, well, if I talk to it, the thread's going to be so scared it dared not go through the needle. It just has to go through. Right, next button. So I'm going to put my next ones here. So this time what I'm going to do with these is come from the outside of my button and then go into the first hole. And then next hole and go to the outside. Oops, created a knot on the back. Oh, here we go. Straight line. And the next one, got to remember, oh, got to remember to leave something to go over the top. Hopefully that'll still get over the top. Fiddly buttons. Yep. So just think about how you're attaching stuff and can you do it in a slightly different way? Just going to make sure that these ones I want to come back down. And again, you could use, I've just used one thread for my tacking stitch and then I'm just doing everything else in the mustard yellow. But you could add as many colours. I've just gone with it because blue and yellow are my favourite colours. But could do all sorts of bits and pieces. And then you've got loads of little areas. So you could do a little seeding stitch on there. Got my little flower. I think it's, am I going to put that on or am I not going to put that on? It's just kind of cute. Bottom. Not sure. Dilemma. So I've got another little flower. Oh no, right, we're not going with that one. Got another little flower there. So I might pop that one on. I think that's kind of cute. It does make me giggle when you're doing stuff like this because you're getting ready for it. And I've got so much fabric on my desk and so many different things. And it's like, it's not a very big piece of work. You really don't need, I quite like that much stuff. Right, going too far down, so I'll tie that one off. Go. And put that back on. Oh, got a pigeon. Very noisy pigeon. If I can hear it, that's a very noisy pigeon. Right, so that's going to go there. So take that one down. Do a little running stitch this time. So I think I'm going to leave the bit that's sticking out at the side. And there. Quite like that. I hadn't intended to do that, but I think that's one of the things that I really like with this particular way of working is the fact that there isn't this massive plan. There's like a bit of an idea of what I'm intending to do, but I think sometimes just to go with it, we're not very good at doing that sometimes. Just think sometimes you've got to over plan everything. But I quite like a happy accident, which I'm sure you've probably noticed from previous videos. My friend Jane was busy saying that there's certain noises that I've now started making on a regular basis, which is a little bit worrying, possibly losing the plot totally. Just had a thought with those little flowers there, it might be quite nice to maybe do a bit of a lazy daisy little flower somewhere if I can fit it in. So it's amazing as well how much you can get into a small piece of textiles. Oops. I'm going to fold that one underneath. Don't want that one sticking out with the other side. Fold that under. Stitches in there. So we're nearly there, I think. There might be some other bits of stitching that I might do onto this. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about everything that we've been doing. If you have, if you want to pop it in the chat, I'll do a quick Q&A. Anybody wants to ask any questions about anything that we've been doing? Got some nice flags coming up. Ooh, one of the things I will say is aught. An aught jar, which is a jar just full of all your threads. You're going to need one in a few weeks. So if you haven't got one, you just need to grab yourself a jar, and while you're stitching, all your little bits of thread and stuff like this need popping in a jar, because we are going to be doing a flag in a few weeks' time that we'll be using the leftovers. Feels very, very on trend, that, especially if you watch the Sewing Bee with the final where they've got them all to use all their leftover bits of fabric to make an outfit. I quite like those challenges when they do those ones. I think that out of the Sewing Bee, that's the only challenge I would be able to do. I would not be able to do the pattern challenge because I'm not patient enough. The made to measure, I don't know how they do it. It's very, very impressive. I went to see actually Esme speaking at Huddersfield University last weekend, which was really nice because she's brought a book out. I've just started reading. It was quite fascinating just listening to her talk about how she's ended up where she has ended up. And she sort of has this philosophy that she just goes with anything. If she's asked to do anything, she just tends to just do it and then just see where it takes her. But very, very nice lady. Right, so I'd love to go and have a rummage though in the haberdashery that's there. I know I went to a talk, Stuart Hillard, that was on the first series. Because he said originally it wasn't meant to be dressmaking, it was just meant to be about sewing, because he's a quilter. And he said he learned a lot because he didn't realise that it was all dressmaking, which is what it ended up being. But he said the original haberdashery, because they didn't know if the concept was going to work, a lot of like the jars that had buttons in, all the buttons were glued to the outside, so the jars weren't actually filled with buttons. And the big rolls of fabric were just like rolls of cardboard that just had a piece of fabric on the outside. And there were only certain areas where they could actually go and get bits of fabric, because a lot of it wasn't real. It's like, oh, the illusion of the Sewing Bee, but I think a lot of it is real now. I think they've definitely got a budget. Right, so there we go. That's that. So I'm quite happy with there's my thingy. There we go. So there's my little hanging with all its little bits and pieces. So the last little bit then that I just need to do is pop that over the top. Let's grab my, see if I can do this all in one go. Hold it and stitch it at the same time. Okay, so I'm just going to do some little stabbing stitches. So little stabbing stitches, that's basically where you're just coming through and then practically going back down where you've come up. You could make a feature of this if you wanted to and do any stitch at all. So this will just attach it onto my pin. Assuming I'm getting this straight. There we go. To the end. Oops. Gets a bit fiddly once you put something else on it. And there we go. Right, it wouldn't be a piece. Hold on, see if I can do this. If we didn't have a bullion knot on it somewhere. So I'm going to try and do a bullion knot going round the top. So if you've got, oh no, I'm just going back out the same hole. So you want to do a bullion knot around it, you just need your thread to come out of the back. Bring your thread through the front, thread at the back, wrap that around your needle. So it looks like you've got enough for it to come over. So I've got my thread there. It's come from front to back. Pull that through. I haven't got a miller's needle, so I'm just going to wiggle them off. There we go. Pull it through, bring that over the front, and then pop that back through to the back, and you get a little bullion knot just going over the actual edging. It's kind of cute. If you want another one, just do a stitch, come to the front, then take your needle through to the back. Yeah. Through to the back. So your thread's at the back, take your needle through from the front, leave it in, wrap your thread round. You haven't got a milliner's needle, when you wrap it, don't pull it too tight, because you've obviously got to get this needle back through. So pull it through, thumb and finger, just rub your thumb and finger backwards. All that does, it opens and closes the thread. And then bring that over the top, knock your little threads through to the back. I've got to do things in threes, so I'll do another one there. Hopefully I've got enough thread. Take that through to the back, front to back, thread, wrap it round. Oh, blimey, fingers and thumbs, fingers and thumbs. That's it. Pull that through. Bring that back over, just knock your threads down your stitch, and there we have it, 3 little bullions. And I'll just tie that off at the back. There we have it. So all I need to do then is just on my flag pencil, just mark a couple of spots. Done with my craft knife. I had a craft knife. My house, which will probably, oh no, it's there. Oh, I was going to say, I was going to blame my kids. Say it was them. So then if I just make just a couple of slits. hopefully. Go. We'll go through. Number 26. There we have it. This week's tag, halfway tag flag. Come on, Anne, it's halfway through the year. Get a grip. So that's it. That's the one for this week. I was going to say this month. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'll just stop sharing. So it comes back to the main screen. Oh, it does say it's still recording. That's ever so good. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. If you want to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, that's it. Week 26. So fingers crossed, if this now downloads onto my computer, I'll be able to upload it and get it uploaded onto the Ko-fi page. So if you want to go back and have a look at it again, we've got just over 50 people. I know a couple of people disappeared partway through. Oh, Sydney, Australia. Oh my goodness me, that's so exciting, Jenny. Oh, so excited. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely to see everybody, even though you're across two different screens, so I have to keep swapping between the two so I can see everybody's faces. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Happy halfway through the year, and thank you for sticking with it. And I've got to think of another 26 to take us right the way through to Christmas. So please keep sharing what you've been doing. And obviously I might not see you next week. Obviously I won't see you next week because I won't be doing a live next week. But I will see everybody, or you will see me every Friday. I'll probably do another live one towards the end of the year. And also I'll do one to introduce next year's challenge for those of you that fancy carrying on. So thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope you're enjoying doing the flags. Please keep sharing and commenting on everybody else's, because obviously I can't get on and comment on everybody's. There is some amazing work that's going on out there. So happy Friday, everybody. Happy stitching. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see everybody at some point. Mwah. Love and hugs, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Anne.
Okay, see you soon. Mwah. See you later.
Bye, Marion.